looking for. Feel the right in the world of tide for sure. Na 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 na. Got to get that feeling.
Hello, loves. It's me, Sunshine. Happy Sunday. I hope everybody had an amazing weekend. I am here with a friend of mine, Kyle Lynch. He is so much fun and such a beautiful soul to speak with, and has accomplished some amazing things. So let's bring him on. Hey, Kyle.
What's going on?
Oh my
I was
God.
rocking out to your intro. I was having fun. That was a cool intro.
So much fun. So I love the fact of how we met.
Yeah, I thought about this.
Yeah.
I'm like, I've thought that this had to be told. And there's a part of me that's still, all right, your listeners will understand why I still feel kind of bad, but not really. I'll tell the story of how we met.
Okay.
So we met, a mutual friend was having an art exhibit, and both of our artwork was there. And we just clicked right away, but I'm sure you click with everyone. That's just who you are. But I'm just like, I gravitated towards you. I'm like, we're friends, we're hanging out. And I noticed that one of your paintings, it had like a gold woman, or it's like bronze, kind of like copper looking, and yours is more realistic looking. I'm more abstract. I haven't practiced to make forms.
Right.
But one of my abstract pieces looked very similar to one of your pieces, because I saw like a copper woman in one of my abstract pieces. And with how I am, I try to like notice all signs and synchronicities and all this. I'm like, all right, there's something here with Sunshine. So I'm like, I'm going to be friends with her. And then we started talking, and I don't know how it came up, but I showed you this piece of wood I found in the woods.
Yes.
So it's like this root that's like all spiky and cool looking. I don't know how the conversation came up, but I'm like, check this thing out.
Right.
And you're like, wait a minute. And then I'll let you tell what.
And then I was like, check this out. And I had the same exact piece of wood. I had taken a picture of it, and it was just like synchronicity that we both fell in love with this amazing piece of wood.
And the piece of wood, we both found it in this random trail in Brookhaven. It's like this wooded trail. And I saw it one day. I'm like, I'm going to take that home with me. And every once in a while, I'll bring my dog in there. And then I finally took it home. So I have it. I love the piece of wood. It's a big, heavy thing.
It's huge.
And
yeah.
Silly me, instead of like going into the trail, and it wasn't that far into the trail and it's a loop.
Yeah.
Instead of grabbing it and turning around and going out, I grabbed it and I walked the whole loop with it with my dog. I'm like, what did I do? But it was a good workout. Yeah, but then you seemed like you wanted it so badly. I'm like, oh, like, all right, maybe I'll give it to Sunshine.
Yeah.
Like, he wants it so bad. And it's just like it's hanging out on the side yard, and like it looks cool and everything. And I went to a work meeting. I'm like, I'm going to stop at Sunshine's.
Yeah.
And I put it in my car. And after my work meeting, I was going to go to your house, and I completely forgot to go to your house. Like, I just like, wait a minute, I'm almost home. And I texted you, and you're like, maybe it wants to stay with you. I'm like,
that's okay. What I said. I go, it is yours. It is yours.
Yeah, so I still feel bad that I have it, but
no.
I like that I have it. I like looking at it.
And that's what's important, that you love looking at it. So funny. And I went there on a blind date, and I said to the date, I go, can you pick that up and bring that? He was like, no. I'm like, you're not getting the second date. That's not why he didn't get a second date.
You should do that test with
Uh,
every date you go on. Just
so
have a piece of wood planted in the woods and see if they pick it up.
so much fun. So much fun. Yay! I'm so glad we connected again. So tell us, love.
Oh man.
Yeah. Tell us how you got to this beautiful journey that you're on
Oh
in the
man.
spiritual world. Like, did you start off knowing? I know you mentioned out of body experiences.
Yeah. I feel like my journey, I mean, I feel like it always starts, my mind says there's no beginning, there's no end.
Right.
But I feel like once I was born into this body, like it knew whatever path it was supposed to be going in. So I think the journey started like right when I was born.
Okay.
Like the point that it really started to kick in was, I think I was early 30s, maybe late 20s, just like having total existential, like looking in the mirror, like, who am I? Like, what is all this stuff? Like, what is this existence? Like, we're on this planet. I'm like having all these questions, like all those stars up there. I'm like, why am I stressing about like what am I gonna do in my life? But I was, and I was just trying to find my path. Just really questioning who I was. And like I was crying for weeks, just like letting it all out. And I started to read books on just like the brain and metaphysical stuff. I'm like, all right, if I want to try to figure out who I am, let's like kind of dissect this and kind of get to the nitty gritty of it. So I started to read books on meditation. That's just kind of where the journey kind of went for me. I'm like, all right, doing like brain stuff, but also doing like spiritual stuff. So it's like I was interested in both. But I read in I think it was Tibetan dream yoga, where something stuck with me. Was if you meditate while in a dream, you're supposed to have this profound experience. And at this time during my emotional release, like I felt like I was very open and vulnerable and just more sensitive to things.
Okay.
And I was having lots of lucid dreams. Was very aware during like the hypnagogic state. Hypnagogic state, is that how you say it? Where like you're half asleep, half awake.
Okay.
So and I was fully aware one night during that state. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna try to like meditate while in this state. But at the same time, I like felt this presence like on top of me, and it felt like it was like sucking energy out of me.
Okay.
And it was like it seemed like kind of demonic. But instead of like freaking out about it, and like, because I feel like that would have woke me up instantly. I'm just like, oh, I'm just gonna go back to meditating and just like being aware that I'm in this state. My body's kind of asleep, but I'm fully aware. And then once I did that, I started to like hear this like loud, like I felt heavy vibrations, and then that's when I popped out of my body for the first time in my life. I felt myself like floating around the ceiling of my room. I heard this deep voice talking to me. I saw, it was kind of dark, but I could see like my room. But one thing that I did see was when you have your TV off, it still has that red LED.
Yeah.
And that was something that was like, that caught my eye because it was just so intense. And it was like, kind of looked like a laser kind of moving around all over the place.
Right.
But when I heard some voice like around me,
Yeah.
I thought to myself, I'm like, all right, I'm aware of this experience happening. And I could either meditate again and see where that brings me, but I'm like, no, like I don't want to get too deep in this. This is my first experience.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I'm just gonna ask this voice who he is. And once I start to ask that, I feel like, or I think that when I said it, my consciousness automatically think about speaking with my mouth, like moving my
Okay.
mouth, using my
Yeah.
words. So I started to think or say like, who are you? And as that was happening, I fell back into my body. So I feel
Right.
like my consciousness got connected with this type of speaking again.
Right.
And then right when I popped back in my body, I'm like, I had chills. I'm like, oh, like what was that? Like I just ran to the bathroom, turned on the lights. I was like a scared little kid. I'm like, oh, what's going on?
How old were you? Do you remember?
This is like late 20s,
Okay.
early 30s. I'm not good with
Yeah.
dates and stuff. And so then the next day, I think I was at the gym. And I started to look up what happened to me. And I saw all the same symptoms from astral projecting. So it's like whooshing sound, the heavy vibrations. And so then this kind of normalized it for me. Like, this is a thing.
Yeah.
This, like, it's not just
People
something
do that.
it's not just something that's in the movies where it's like, this is something you could experience. And then that just kind of like opened up a whole new world for me. Like it went from having this existential crisis breakdown to having this scary experience to doing a little research and like, oh yeah, this would happen to you. And then I really started to practice that. I didn't have as many intense outer body experiences, but I did have moments where I felt like I floated up out of my body, traveled a little bit, but then my memory's like gone of that. And that's actually one of the struggles with having outer body experiences, bringing back the memory of it, because I read that we're always leaving our bodies at night when we dream.
Yeah.
Did you ever think to journal?
I have and I do.
But when you wake up, like I have a journal next to my bed.
Yeah.
So when I come back, I immediately start writing or I draw because some of my visions come from my dreams.
Yeah, I think that's a great tool.
Yeah.
And I started to do that. I actually just started to type because I feel like I type faster and I don't think as much.
Okay.
I'm like, my handwriting is like chicken scratch. I was like, and I feel like there are some dreams that are more profound than others because I feel like once I really start to have a dream journal, like I could type forever. I'm like, oh yeah, and then this happened. I'm like, oh yeah, now you start to remember more stuff.
Right.
And then there are some dreams that just like, I don't know, it hits differently. Like there are certain characters that don't seem like normal dream characters. It's almost like they seem like professors or some sort of spiritual teachers. And I did have one lucid dream experience where I felt like I was in like a classroom setting with other students who were learning how to lucid dream. So I felt like that place exists, and it's like I went there and I wasn't there for that long, but that's something that stuck with me. So it's like I feel like there are schools we could go to when we're dreaming.
Yeah. I love that.
Yeah, but I haven't had these experiences in quite some time. I feel like so once I had my first outer body experience, I decided to go back to school for psychology and mental health. And this was kind of I'll say it's kind of it was a risk for me financially, just because I already went to school. I'm like took out loans for that. I'm like, is this what I want to do? Is this really what I want to do? But I'm like, you know what? Why not? It's like I know I'm not my body. It's like we don't have to fear as much as we do. So
that's
right. Go back, and so I really focused my energy in that, and then I kind of like took a step back from the spiritual realm. And there was a part of me that always wanted to bring it into like the university setting. and I did a little bit. Sometimes my professors will look at me like I'm a little nuts, which was fun.
Which is good. I'd said before, the weirder, the better, right?
Yep. Yeah, I remember one of my professors in graduate school, we were talking about like certain treatments for whatchamacallit, not PTSD, but having like fears of certain things. Like if you have fear of spiders and all this. And there's a way to in the waking life to kind of like bring the, like if you're afraid of dogs. So it's like slowly introduce dogs to you. And I'm like, oh, I know a quicker way. Unless like lucid dream. Excuse me. Just like do it in lucid dreams.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
God bless.
Because if you're lucid in a dream, you know you're dreaming.
Right.
So it's not as intense. And you could manage your dream world a little differently. Like you can manifest things in your dream. And I feel like that gets deeper into our subconscious.
Yes.
It's like we're planting something else deeper.
Yep.
And so when I brought up like using Tibetan dream yoga and lucid dreaming to help people with their fears, he's like, all right, Kyle.
I do it. I actually still do it almost every night. I listen to a hypnosis, whatever I feel like listening to before I go to bed or while I'm sleeping. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like the binaural beats.
Yeah.
And I love ASMR. Oh,
yeah.
That stuff's so good. Do you know what? Are you familiar with ASMR?
No.
Oh, it's the acronym stands for Autonomous Sensory Meridian Response.
Okay.
And there's like millions of YouTube videos of people doing like mundane things like tapping or whispering.
Okay.
And it's like it's very relaxing.
Huh.
Like, I mean, that doesn't really help with the dream world, but it definitely helps you put you to sleep.
Okay. I might have a few people that would be interested in that. You know, having trouble sleeping and whatnot. I'll have to, you know, pass that along.
Yeah, it doesn't affect everyone apparently, because I've introduced it to some of my friends. And they're just like, what the heck are you listening to? Like,
well, are those your normal friends or your weird
yes,
friends?
Yes.
Because your spiritual friends will probably embrace it, right?
Yep. Yeah. And
I only have those now. So fun. So what else? Tell us what else you've been up to. So you went back to school.
Yeah. Once I graduated from mental health counseling, I took a step back, a large step back, I'd say. I didn't dive into the field completely.
Okay.
I'm like, I'm going to take this time. I'm going to focus on myself and some creative projects that I have in my mind. And I wanted to get back into the spiritual world. And I'm like, if I dive into like a clinical setting right away, I'm like, I feel like I'm going to get lost in it. But the two fields like spirituality and mental health counseling, I mean, they complement each other nicely.
I think so, yeah.
Yep. So after I graduated, took a step back, started writing, started creating, starting to have ideas about what I wanted to create, and just decided like, yeah, I'm going to just do it. Because the me before the outer body experience, it would just all be mental. And I would tell myself like, oh, someone's already done that. What's the point of me doing it? And I don't know if this is an actual quote or where this came from or whatever, but it kind of, I remind myself of it a lot is, so if I think someone already wrote about something, I tell myself, all right, but did I write about it? And it's like, I try to remind myself that all the time. And I feel like that helps with my internal journey and my experiences.
That's awesome. And your
Mm.
self-confidence, right?
Totally. Yep. Yeah, it's a grown experience.
Yeah.
Like putting yourself out there. Like even doing this, it's just like it's a grown experience.
Yeah. Well, I saw you on a radio show, right?
Yeah, that's my other life in a way. I've actually been working at that radio station for about 10 years now, maybe a little longer.
Okay.
I originally went to school for audio engineering and was working in music, doing post-production, like voiceover recordings. And I landed a gig at the radio station and it felt super comfortable. And so I've been there for a while. But I've always been the behind the scenes guys.
Right, right.
Doing the recording, the editing, doing the technical stuff. And seeing there's so many talented people everywhere. But the East End has like a lot of artists, a lot of writers. And so it's like I see all these guests come in, I see everything that they're working on. I'm like, oh man, that looks like so much fun to be able to like create and then promote it. But I was always the guy behind the scenes. And then I just decided like I'm gonna start creating stuff. And then like things start to happen. And then it's like now I'm on the other side and I'm talking about it.
So tell us what you wrote. You wrote a book, right?
I did. So I had an idea hit me and I got excited about it. And old me would just be like, all right, I wouldn't do anything about it. But I used that excitement as my foundation to always like move forward with it, remind myself I was excited about it initially, just keep on going.
Right.
So I brought two of my worlds together. So I'm heavily fascinated by synchronicities, by signs. Sometimes I probably look too much for them.
Right.
But there are times where they're just like so right in your face. And I'm just like, I just always wonder about like, what's that? Like what's behind the scenes there?
Right.
So I took that passion and I'm super passionate about fantasy sports. The little kid Kyle grew up playing baseball, basketball, like all sports, and that stayed with me. So I don't know if you're familiar with fantasy sports. I feel like I have to explain it to people who don't.
You definitely have to explain it.
I'll give a quick rundown. So like I have my own fantasy team where I choose real life players to create my entire roster. So if I'm playing football, like I could pick a real life quarterback from any football team, a real life running back. And so then I have my team and I'm with a group of people who are all playing in the same league. So I play with my brother, my friends, and we all compete against each other's teams.
Okay.
So you have to make a lot of decisions on like who to play, who to choose, like who to put in your starting roster. And I just see your eyes. I just sports. I know sports. I know
it's sports, yeah, but it's all good. Keep going.
But I'm like, all right, I love fantasy sports. I'm like, I don't care. It's fun. I'm going to be doing it. I love playing with my brother. I love playing with my friends. I love the competition. And then I thought about how I love synchronicity and how I use synchronicities to make decisions in my life a lot of the times. And I'm like, I could probably use synchronicity and signs to make decisions for my fantasy sports teams as well. And when I thought about that, I'm like, but that doesn't seem healthy. Like I started thinking like, would spirit like this? Like would spirit be down with using synchronicity to help me with my fantasy sports team? Because we play for like a little bit of money. It's not like heavy gambling. It's very friendly.
Right.
So then I started thinking like, oh, but what if people with gambling problems start to use this? Like, how does it even look? And like, I went down the rabbit hole of like, what would it look like if everyone started to use synchronicity? Would that even work?
Right.
if everyone's like getting the same signs for a certain player. And I was like, I gotta stop thinking. Like, this is just something I wanted to do. And so I wrote a book on which has a bunch of guided meditations. It's
Okay.
supposed to attract synchronicities or make you aware of synchronicities or signs in your life that will help you make decisions for your fantasy sports teams. So it's like if I'm deciding between should I put like Derek or Chris into my lineup, who are two football players.
Right.
And then all of a sudden I hear like strangers in a coffee shop and I just keep on hearing the name Derek. I'm like, all right, that catches my ear a little bit. But then it's like, all right, then I start seeing Derek's jersey number all over the place. I'm like, all right, I'm putting Derek in.
Derek's in.
Derek's in.
Yeah.
But I feel like sometimes, again, like I'm searching too much for signs. So it's like I got to step back and let the signs really like hit me. And I don't want this to be like 100% guaranteed, like this is going to help you, like you're going to get all the signs you need, your intuition's going to be so in tune, you're going to make all the correct decisions. I'm like, no, this is just opening people up to a different way of seeing things, to seeing synchronicities, to seeing signs. I feel like it'll open up a demographic of people that wouldn't normally use this tool.
Yeah, that's what I was just thinking, that, you know, because you know, not everybody thinks like us, and I think that's a beautiful way to introduce it to other minded people, right?
Yeah. And sports is very analytical.
Yeah.
So it's like that was a tough, it still is a tough part, kind of explaining how intuition could help with this. And it's a journey, just like every project and everything we do. It's a constant unfolding of, all right, now we have this challenge that we have to look at and figure things out. But so far so good, because when I wrote the book, because I did all the meditations myself, because I don't want to just be like, oh yeah, this will totally work.
Yeah.
I need to do it myself. And it definitely helped me win for the first time. It helped me make like a couple decisions here and there that helped. And now I'm, so something that happened this year was I randomly started listening to James Brown.
Okay. I love James.
We'll go with this. I never listened to this. I forget how, like, I started listening. Maybe someone asked me to play something funky in the car. I was like, all right. And I put on James Brown.
Right.
And one song stuck with me. And then a couple of days later, it was the NFL rookie draft, where they draft people into the NFL, the big league. And one guy got drafted, and the song that he came out to was the same James Brown song.
Which song was it?
I forget the name of this song.
Sing it for me.
Get up now, come on up. I think that's what it was. But this is, I feel like another hurdle where it's like I don't want to tell other people whom I'm choosing, because I don't feel like that would be helpful. Like I want for people to recognize their own signs. Like I don't want a community of people sharing like, oh, to pick this player, I had the sign. It's like it's partly about that, just because it's fun to bring this into fantasy sports, but it's mainly about people having their own experiences.
Yeah.
And like, holy cow.
Yeah.
And I feel like that would be
that
would be more exciting for me to hear people's
tell you their
experiences.
Yeah.
It's like I get excited thinking about that. That's not necessarily them winning their fantasy league, but that'd be cool too. That'd be cool too.
Oh, that's so cool. So it's on Amazon, right?
Yeah, it's on Amazon as a ebook, but I don't recommend it as an ebook because there's guided meditation. So it's on Audible as an audiobook.
Yeah. Cool. I love it. I love it. And have you seen, have they, people been buying? Did you notice?
I haven't been promoting it.
Okay.
Well, one, because promoting something is a completely new thing for me.
Right.
But also actually getting an idea and then actually creating it is also new for me, but I'm getting the hang of it, so I keep on doing it. And so it's like, all right, I'm already writing the next book because my first book was on football, and now I'm like writing about baseball, and like, so I don't have time to promote it. I'm working on all sorts of creative projects, and then I'm trying to think about, oh, do I want to like go back to the mental health field and do counseling, because I was at a private practice for a little bit.
Right.
But then I stepped back from that, and I'm like, do I want to go back to that? So to think about promoting my book, it just like, I don't know. And also, it's also a new muscle for me to say like, hey, I created this and
Yeah.
check it out. So that's part of my internal experience.
Struggle.
Yeah.
Your journey.
Yeah.
And you did spiritual cards too, right?
Yes. Yes. I feel like I didn't even know what to make of these cards that I've created, because I feel like they've changed my understanding of how we could use our subconscious, of just like planting things in our subconscious, then how that manifests. Because when I initially created my cards, it was more of just like, I just want to create something for fun. Like, what would be a simple thing to create? And I was like, I'll start to think of just like little cards with an image on it, and you write an affirmation or what you want to manifest on it. And I didn't want it to be a super complex project, because it was one of my first creative things that I was manifesting and bringing to the physical. And then it evolved. So it totally evolved. My kind of background in psychology and mental health, like, so I always think about like our conscious mind, our subconscious mind. And so initially the image that I want to have on the cards was just like an acorn, to represent just like how acorn falls from the tree, lays its seeds, and then more trees come. So just kind of like wanted to do something simple. And I feel like I'm on a tangent now. So the basic kind of mechanism of it, I don't want to say mechanism, but you write what you want to manifest on the cards. The cards don't tell you anything. You show yourself things.
Oh, okay. So they're blank on one side?
Blank on one side, and the other side has deep sea creatures.
Okay.
So the deep sea creatures, they represent our shadow self.
Okay.
And just kind of the stuff that we bury deep. And my idea was that some things in our life that we want to manifest, sometimes we have trouble manifesting them because certain shadow energies need to come up with them. So it's like we need to bring some energies to the surface for certain things to manifest. And so just with the creative concept of the deep sea creatures represent our shadow self, but it's like they also have bioluminescence.
Okay.
And which is our light within. And they create that themselves. So it's like these gnarly creatures have this bioluminescence deep in the water. So it's like whatever we want to manifest, that light is the representation of that.
Okay.
So that's just the mental concept of it.
I'm looking at the name. You wrote portal key cards, right?
Yeah.
They're called.
So,
now, are they on sale yet or no?
Yeah, they're on my website.
Oh, okay. I didn't even know you had a website.
I'll send it to you.
Yeah.
The
Write it down.
website is,
Yeah.
it's not very creative name because I just like threw it together one day, and it's klenergyportal.com.
You sent it?
Oh, 1 second.
Send it in the private chat. Okay, cool.
Yes,
So,
there's nothing on the cards that says like has no sayings whatsoever.
right.
They have a title just of like what the fish is or what the image is. This
Okay.
is really about having people go inward to manifest something rather than like having this card and the card telling you something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's awesome.
Thanks. Yeah, it's definitely an experiential thing. So it's when whatever you write down of what you want to manifest and you do the meditations, then what starts to pop up in your life, like this is how I experienced it. You really start to recognize the relationship between your inner being and how that the outer is a reflection of it.
Right.
But I feel like everyone's going to have their own experience with it.
Of course, especially if it's designed to make you actually go inward and get your own messages.
Yeah. And this was all just more of a mental thing, and I didn't really know what our unconscious does or how we could use it, or our subconscious. And then I started to get really into Kundalini yoga,
Ah,
which is all
yeah.
about doing mantras and working with that subconscious stuff. I'm like, oh, this kind of relates with my cards, and it's like, all right, now everything starts to make sense, and I see the connection with everything.
Yeah.
But I didn't know how intense this stuff was once I started doing it. I'm like, again, I'm creating a product, so I got to do it myself. And then I started doing it. I'm like, oh my God, what did I get myself into?
That's good though. That's good. And you said you're already starting on a second set?
Yes, because I feel like this stuff is pretty dark. I brought another part of me into this product where it's like, listen, I like spirituality, I like crystals and all this soft stuff, but I like death metal too. Okay, I like heavy music. There's no denying it. Someone's like, I think deep sea creatures are cool. They look awesome. They're like dark and mysterious. I'm gonna put that in a product and have it look cool. But now that I recognize what's possible with working with our subconscious and doing the meditation, they got upset when I said death metal. They didn't like that.
No, they're mostly deaf, these two, so they're okay with anything at this point. Well, you do what brings you joy. That's what's the most important thing, is what you do for you. What makes you happy. So if the death metal it is, then that's what it is. Me, no thank you.
Which is all good.
It's all good.
Yeah. And I feel like sometimes I do feel like a little bit of like an outsider, like in the spiritual kind of metaphysical realm, just because it is so light and heart-centered. And it's like, yes, I could go there, but then there's also like a part of me is like, yeah, like death metal too. I'm like, how does this fit in this? Like,
yeah.
And I feel like that's I don't know. It's fun. It's fun trying to be myself in every aspect of life.
You have to be yourself. You have to be yourself. Well, I had another soul on a couple of weeks ago, and we talked about death, and she said the same thing, that she feels because everybody else is light and love, And it's true. Most of them are light and love, but we have to go through the dark to get to the light, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, so the dark is very important to all of us, to every single one of us. So you're not an outcast. You're one of us.
I know. I know.
You know, the two of us gravitated to each other immediately. So
Yeah, that's your energy too. And when I saw that you were doing these podcasts, I was like, that is perfect for her. I'm like, she's so personable. I'm like, she's gonna be able to give her energy out, or not. I don't want to say give her energy, but to share your energy to more people. So I was like, I'm like, this is a perfect fit for Sunshine. I'm like, this is great.
And I love doing it because I love connecting to all of you guys and making it the ripple connection, you know, because now hopefully what you said resonated with somebody else and they'll connect with you, and you know, and so on and so on.
Wow, the connections are always there.
Yeah.
It's wild.
Yeah.
I'm actually one of my next creative project is, it's very simple, but I'm going to see how it works. Is I'm just going to have a t-shirt. I'm going to call it a synchronicity.
Okay.
And on the back, it's going to say, tap me on my shoulder, ask me what I'm working on. Seriously. And so it's just like, if someone's working on any project, anything that someone's working on, and then you could create more connections by that, where it's like things come to you, people come to you, like you attract the right people. So it's like, maybe you need an editor for something.
Right.
And then someone taps you on the shoulder and they ask you, like, oh, I'm writing a book. And they're like, oh, I'm an editor. It's like, oh, okay. So like, I'm trying to create connections like that, but I haven't done that yet. But that's my next experience that I'm putting myself through.
Do you have a picture of your cards? On your
it's on my website.
I'm actually on your, oh my goodness, I love this. Let me see if I can get it. One of the goddesses, Stephanie Vega, she loves when I say her name. She asked if we could see the cards. So let's see if Sunshine can figure it out without closing everything out.
I mean, I could help you out. I could show them physically, but I kind of like you trying to figure out the technical part.
So funny. Window. I have the window. They
I have some right here. This is, I like this guy. This is
I looked at my own screen. I was like, ooh, but it's not letting me share. I don't know why.
I didn't post all of the cards on my site. I think there's like 3 or 4 of them on there.
I just saw the piranha. His website, Steph, is KLEnergyportal.com. And it's really, really cool. Did you and are these your images, your illustrations?
No, that's I gotta promote Marta Maskovich. Okay. I actually found her on this website called Fiverr, which is a website. And so I've been in contact with her. I told her like the product's done because it took me a little while to finish it. So I'm like, can I promote you? Like, where can I send people if they're interested? Hold on, let me get her Instagram.
Well, is it on the card?
Her name's on the box.
Okay, so then we'll have people buy your cards, and then if they want to get in touch with Marta, how about that?
That sounds good. Yeah, to spell her last name, it's a long. But she's a great artist, and I had fun working with her. Like I just put my ideas out. Like I tried my best to put my vision out of my head and
Yeah.
then into
Ooh, my
hers.
lights are going
So I
crazy.
gave her creative freedom,
Okay.
and she just went for it. I'm like, I love everything you've created.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You have the card on you right there.
Yeah, I got him right here.
Show us. Show us.
Here's one. This is the yin eel.
Wait, keep it up there. Oh, there you go. Who's that? The eel?
Yep, that's the yin eel.
That's so cool.
On the back, nothing.
Blank.
This card doesn't tell you anything. No one needs these cards. It's like it's just a bridge to go internally. I mean, that's a terrible selling point. It's like,
I
you
was
don't
just
need
gonna
this.
say no. You don't sell your cards that way.
But that's the goal of it. It's just supposed to be a bridge from the external to the internal.
Right.
Because that's my ultimate goal, is to get people to go internally to recognize their own power.
Yes.
And so the meditations that I provide in the booklet. So it comes. Where's my booklet? It's not just the cards. So it comes with my little booklet.
Was that a spider?
Yeah, a little spider crab.
That's so cool.
Yep, so it has guided meditations in it on how to use the cards. So it's a lot of placing hands on yourself,
Right.
doing breathing exercises, saying your affirmation or your manifestation that you wrote out loud, and really breathing it into your body.
I love it. I love it. That's beautiful. Because we all have the ability. We all have the ability, and we just have to learn how to tap into it.
Yeah,
And
let's
that's
go with it.
yeah, and that's a beautiful tool. Yes.
And we don't have to completely know what the process is with it. It's like we don't have to understand everything about it. We could just play with it. We could do some meditations, do like planting stuff within our being, and see what happens, see what pops up in our life, and just play with it.
I love it. I love it. I love it. And I love the fact that that it's teaching people to do that. You know, a lot of people are always questioning, or they want the easy way out. Do it. Do it yourself.
Yep, do the work.
Do the work. Yeah.
I mean, I still love like oracle cards and tarot cards. And again, like I look for synchronicities outside of me all the time.
Yeah.
So it's I'm not trying to like put that method down in any way.
Oh, no, of course not.
This is just a different way.
Yeah.
And different. It helped me understand things differently.
Yeah. I love that.
My initial goal was just to create something and put in the kind of be a part of like the metaphysical community, and then it kind of like unfolded in a different way that I didn't expect. And I think that happens with a lot of things that we do. And sometimes we just gotta get on the ride and go and see what happens.
Yeah. I'm going to put your website in the comments. So anybody can click on it and look at it, because obviously I'm technically challenged and I can't do it myself.
The one that you have on the scroll, that's going to be my next one.
Which one?
The universe.
Oh, the one I typed in.
Yeah, which is all good because it's happening. It's going to be out there.
Yes.
And it's less dark. It's like, now that I understand how to plant stuff in my being, how things manifest, it's like I'm being a little bit more lighter and playful with it. So it won't be as intense. It's not going to bring up any of your shadow stuff.
My shadow stuff is gone. No. Almost. Oh my goodness. Yeah. It's so important to work on the shadow stuff though. You know, so important. So important. Yay, I'm so excited for you. So, is there anything that you want to say out loud that you would like to share with the collective or with someone who's, thinking about doing something?
Mm. Anything? Yeah, again, if you say someone else has already done it or you think that someone else can do it better than you, get that out of your head, and just go for it. It's like hesitation is okay. Feeling nervous and uncertain, totally normal, totally fine. It just, I have a lot of Capricorn. My son's in Capricorn, so I'm just like, I took this step-by-step approach.
Yeah.
I'm like, all right, I'm creating this idea that I got excited about. So if you have an idea you get excited about, what's the next step I got to do with it?
Yeah.
My method is, all right, so I have this thing that's in my mind. It has to come into the physical. I go to the dollar store, buy a binder, start like putting ideas on a piece of paper, put a physical binder together, and that puts energy into it. It puts intention into it. Yeah, but if there's any internal struggles saying like, I don't know if I want to do this, it's like, I don't know what advice to give except just do it.
Well, we can create
Yeah.
anything. If we put our
That's
mind to it,
true.
we can create it. We can make our dreams come true. We are the only ones who can make our dreams come true, right?
Yep, that's that. I 100% believe that we can really do anything, and
Yeah.
that in itself is like, that's overwhelming.
Limitless.
It's like, oh my God, then what am I doing right now? It's like,
We are limitless, right,
yeah.
Lucy? No, it's so true. It's so true. And as when we put our mind to it, we can do it. We can do it. We have to believe in ourselves and then actually, create and do the action, and then it's done.
Yeah, and I mean, this is kind of cliche too, but it's so true. It's like there's no such thing as failure. Like it just ever you just learn from everything you do.
Yeah.
And it's like, I made these first cards, and it's like, great. Without creating these first cards, I wouldn't be creating the next ones that I'm making. And so it's like everything leads to the next thing. And so there's no such thing as failure. It's like you learn from things and you keep on going.
I always say that failure, the word failure should be removed from the dictionary.
Yeah.
We're only doing the best that we could possibly do at any given moment,
Yeah, that's wild when you think of it that way, when it's just like it's a word. It's like when we came onto this planet and there are words set in place.
Yeah.
It's like we're following them, or we let them get to us and they get into our being.
Get rid of it. Remove what no longer serves you. The word failure no longer serves me. It's out.
Sorry, failure. we had a good time. Not really.
So much fun. Well, thank you so much, Kyle, for coming on.
Thank you so much.
We'll have to get together and find some more pieces of wood.
I still want you to go on dates and just like, well, I don't know what's going on in your love life. Maybe it's
there is none.
Okay, well, then I love my idea of testing out your dates by seeing if they'd pick up the piece of wood for you.
That's so funny. Oh my God. All right, I'm going to put you in the back room. Thank you for coming on. Thank you for sharing. Hold on. I love you.
Love you too.
Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for coming on and playing with us. Kyle's an amazing soul. So check out his work. He's such an amazing bright light. So thank you for joining us. May we all be happy, healthy, wealthy, and free.
This is the moment we've been waiting for.